Welcome to Real Outdoors. Captain Adam here. We have some guys from Good Eye and Shinn Times out of Grand Haven. We're going to talk about the St. Joe and Grand Haven tournament, and they have some awesome info, some great baits that they brought to show off, and a little bit of strategy and about the two wins. So they won both of those tournaments. So, but before we get started here, introduce the guys. I got to give a shout out to Mick Ultra and, of course, Captain Chucks and Bahio Sunglasses as well for sponsoring this episode. Let's meet those captains.
Captain Jason Pranger, Grand Haven, Michigan, Shinn Times, and also the Good Eye.
Joey Meyers, Shinn Times, out of Grand Haven.
Kyle Pranger, Shinn Times, and first mate on the Good Eye, Grand Haven, Michigan.
All right, so we're here with Team Good Eye and Shinn Times, and we're going to talk, I think, a little bit about the St. Joe tournament, maybe to start off. Jason, you kind of want to give a little rundown of maybe explain the whole dynamic of how this works, and
yeah, Adam. So basically, what we decided, we're all from Grand Haven. CJ Annister and Tom Annister, who own Good Eye, and my son Kyle mates for CJ. We decided to team up and fish tournaments together this year. One of the twists is we run a pro boat and an amateur boat in some of the more local tournaments. So Grand Haven, Muskegon, Holland, Saugatuck. When we started out in the spring fishing down south, we fished Michigan City, St. Joe, and then we come up to Grand Haven. That's been our spring so far.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how is the fishery? I fished a little pre-fishing in St. Joe, so I saw the fishing was pretty incredible. Now, large fish didn't seem to be as everywhere, but
well, what I can say down south this spring is everybody knows it was a late spring. The cold weather hung on for it seemed like forever. Hung on until June. There was plenty of coho, right? Yep. Everybody that fished down south caught coho everywhere they went in the normal spots. The Cook Plant, the Reef, the beach, Michigan City, Indiana. Down to the steel plants in Indiana. You could find your coho anywhere. But kings were far and few between, and you had to be on the right trout. And there was only a few places where the right trout were. So that was the challenge down south. It wasn't numbers; it was catching the right fish, the ones that put the weight behind the numbers.
Sure. Yeah, we have the same thing up here, that in Ludington tournament, if you're going to do well in Ludington tournament, if there's kings around, you have to catch kings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if there isn't kings around, you have to catch trout because trout are the second largest, at least in any kind of numbers. So, yeah, for sure. The trout fishing down in St. Joe was pretty incredible. I was down there with Innuendo at the beginning of the week, and I don't know how many trout we caught and released, but it was unbelievable and just quick order. But they were all kind of those same, small trout too, not those big trout that are kind of known for Michigan City and St. Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how did you all fish Good Eye for St. Joe? So how did that go? Like, kind of give us a recap day by day. We want all the exciting parts.
Well, we knew we had to catch our trout, so when we went out deep, we had to catch our trout, and we got on them, and we ended up catching them.
So, what were your what was your average size on those trout?
Probably 12 to 15 pounds.
Oh wow, yeah, good fish.
Yeah, we were targeting deep trout that we're holding in really deep water. It's really not much of a secret where people go down there to catch the big trout, and it's a long way to go. But barring the specifics of where we were, it was Friday of St. Joe was a tricky day because it was cold, it was blowing 20 miles an hour, and it was foggy, and rain on top of it. So it was dark conditions, it was rough, and it was foggy. And we didn't have a great box on day one, which I was kind of happy. We didn't have a great box, but we were sitting there like I think it was 4th or 5th place. And the forecast for the next day was calming seas and bright sunshine. So we just kind of knew it was like, we get our limit on Friday, and then it just typically the bigger trout bite when you're fishing those,
sure,
fishing those trout 300-400 feet down.
Yeah,
it needs to be sunny.
So, and you can't, we've said it many times on here, but you can't win a tournament the first day, but you definitely can lose.
For
So
sure.
getting your fish, getting your numbers, and get the best quality fish you can get with those numbers. So then day 2, did you make any changes? Like what was the
Day 2? We had a really good. Actually, I don't know if it's up here. It was close to. Yeah, it was close to this. This is an 8-inch Wonderbred UV spin doctor with a Wonderbred whirligig. In fact, doesn't even have any dots on it. It's been bit a few times. But we had not this particular whirligig. It was actually a spin and glow, and it was a glow Wonderbred, and that was really good when it was cloudy.
Sure.
On day 2, we did not catch our trout on rotators or spin and glows at all. It was moonshines.
Moonshine, Blue Hawk.
Moonshines down deep, 200-300 down, Blue Hulk, burnt toast, Wonderbred.
Awesome. And then, so you're just fishing downriggers and maybe a couple divers down there? Are you fishing lead drops?
They didn't seem to want the divers out there. It was just our out downs, and we were putting 450s out. So it was regular moonshines on the 450s, and then we're taking bonus kings. There was a few kings out there as well, and then our corner riggers were down 250, 300 with spoons and stackers, 50 feet above it.
Yeah. Wow.
Our last trout of the day, we caught a 12-pound trout on the main, a 10-pound trout on the slider, and we had to actually let the 10-pound trout go.
Oh.
Yeah,
We had to release it.
put us over our limit. So
Yeah, that's.
had to watch a.
I've been in the trout letting go some really big trout before when I'm trying to catch kings at the end of the day. That's it's hard to do, but you got to do it. Or the days when back when there used to be a lot of kings, and you can go offshore to get your bonus fish and catch 4-year-olds out there that are bigger than the ones in your box, and you're letting 20-pound fish go.
And then our numbers fish, because there's a trout limit down there. You can't catch to 12 trout. I think it's 6, right? You can catch 6 trout
Yeah, I think
per
it
day.
was 6 trout down.
So our numbers fish is probably our best. This is our best year-round spoon. Period. End of story. Is Captain Gary's UV Super Slim Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
It goes on our 150 every day. I mean, from April until we put the boat away. That was taking our numbers, and then this new salmon candy, orange jeans, gold blade was on our 100. That's kind of what put the numbers in the boat to help out with the trout we were catching for weight, but we needed the numbers to bring home the
Sure.
championship.
Are you running any lead core, or is it all copper?
This year it's been
All
pretty
copper.
much all copper.
Yep.
So like 2s and 3 colors, and then copper beyond that, or
We have
We ran a couple high leads down in Michigan City and St. Joe, but we just didn't have as much action on them.
yeah.
They just like they weren't on lead. I mean, we could throw a 50 or a 75 copper out and get a bite, but it just seemed like 1 color, 2 color, 3 color. We couldn't get them to fire this year.
Huh.
And where the lead core was, the only place we really got decent lead core fishing was on the beach, in
Sure.
10 or in like 15, 20, 25 feet of water.
Yeah.
But we didn't fish a tournament in there. So
Yeah. No, then it's hard to. I think with copper, when it's really shallow, copper on the inside of a turn tends to go quickly to the bottom.
to the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you'll end up getting a lot of dirty, dirty spoons and such in there.
For sure.
So what kind of your best couple for St. Joe? What were your kind of your money spoons? Let's just lay them out.
Well, those were, like I said before, the original. This is a Captain Gary's UV. This is actually a yellow Captain Gary's UV. I don't think it matters. This is on our 150 every day, and this was definitely put fish in the boat down there. This orange jeans, gold blank, salmon candy. Thanks, Russell. That's been on our 100 copper right on through the spring, and that's produced coho and steelhead. In fact, I think that took a 10-pound steelhead in the St. Joe tournament on day 2. Obviously, Blue Hulk. Blue Hulk was amazing down in St. Joe, especially offshore. And then, I would say this in the spring. We didn't fish the tournament inside of 120 foot, but when we were trout fishing inside of 120 foot down south in St. Joe and Michigan City, this was our shoot bait every day, and it was catching kings and trout. We probably went through 2 or 3 of these spinning gloves because you get a big king on it. And
Yeah, it tends to tear them up. The whirligigs there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We caught the Thursday before the Michigan City tournament. We would have weighed 91 pounds for 5 fish.
Wow.
Of course, it was the day before a tournament, but 3 of them came on this.
That's awesome.
One was a king 2 or 20-pound trout.
Yep.
Awesome.
So that was.
So how did day 2 end up for you then?
Oh, day two in St. Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ended up catching just enough to hold off Innuendo for the championship.
That's awesome.
What did we weigh? 120,
125.
115. I can't.
I think it was 116.
Yeah.
116.
Jeremy had in the 120s.
A
that
lot.
day.
Yeah. Jeremy did the opposite. Jeremy ran way up north and caught
Yep.
kings, and we ran way offshore to catch the bigger trout. And luckily we stuck that last 12-pounder at the end.
Played a little bit of defense.
Well, that's awesome. So you have a awesome St. Joe tournament, and then we have South Haven, which we don't need to talk about.
No, we bypassed. We didn't.
You didn't fish it?
No, we didn't go to
Okay.
South Haven. Kyle actually is one of the top youth bowlers in the nation, and he had a big tournament that weekend. So I had to
Awesome.
be gone, and he had to be gone. So we bypassed
Did
it.
you get a 300?
Sadly, no.
So we bypassed South Haven, and we fished Grand Haven. And that was the first tournament we fished 2 boats.
Yeah.
Grand Haven felt like getting a 300. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was so we now we take the team and we split the guys that can fish and go and fish on Shinn Time.
Correct.
At one
And-
point, we didn't think we were going to have enough people on Shinn Times to fish the tournament.
You had to have your observer by a license.
There was one of my best friends, Tom Garrison. I used to work. I've worked with Tom 20 years ago. Him and I fished together, and the co-owner of Shinn Times, Joe Irwin. Joe and Tom are both tool and die makers by trade, and they worked together for years. And it was actually about a 10:30 decision the second day of St. Joe on the Good Eye after about 3 cases of Mick Ultra.
Nice.
We made a phone call and said, hey, Tom, we need somebody to run Shinn Times for the Grand Haven tournament. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Very cool.
That's how that happened. So the Shinn Times crew in Grand Haven was Joey, my son Kyle, Colton Borman, and my friend Tom Garrison. And we ran gunnel to gunnel both places.
Yeah.
And we just fished as a team, communicated.
Yeah.
We were out front for a little while. I don't know about gunnel to gunnel there, buddy.
Yeah, we were definitely racing.
We backed down, then we were gunnel to gunnel.
So yeah, we moved on to Grand Haven, and kind of the same strategy, Adam. Grand Haven fishing was incredible. There was boats that had limits by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, both days of the women's tournament, guys were coming in with 20 fish, but you couldn't catch a fish over 6 pounds unless you were really fortunate. So we decided to forego that inside salmon fishing. You couldn't catch big enough fish, and it wasn't consistently, they're just too small. So we made the run offshore again to fish trout. Both boats did.
And South Haven, people fish that same water. So you knew the water
Heard
was
about
there.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you fish it in South Haven?
We didn't go. Nobody.
Oh, nobody fished. Yeah, okay. But you must have heard about the area.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, it was a sad day.
The secret was out.
And it was quite a run. Not the run that we made, but quite a run.
It was
Comparatively.
well from St. Joe to where we fished was 35 miles one way. In Grand Haven, it's 38 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
one way.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a touch of a haul.
Yeah, so these guys took a 31 Tierra with gasoline engines, 1984, and ran that far, 70 miles round trip.
Yeah,
86, isn't it?
that's really. People always say they should put boundaries on these tournaments and stuff, but you have to really. It's ballsy. I mean, you have to be committed, and you own that.
Right.
Once you're there, you're there. You don't get. There's no plan B. You go to plan A, and if plan A works, then you're a hero, and if plan A doesn't work, you're done.
Yeah.
It's all over.
That was our whole discussion. It's either we're going to go out there and be heroes or we're going out there to be zeros.
I mean, I'm going to talk with Tony and the guys from
No risk,
Hambone
no
who
reward.
won the pro side at Grand Haven, and they made an incredible run.
Yeah, they went a little further than we did.
Yeah, and they, it worked for them. We ran 70 miles each way, and it didn't work for us. But it's a gamble. It's a huge gamble. So I mean, hats off to you for having the confidence that you could go out there and put those fish in the boat that fast.
The decision was made, and that's one thing. I mean, there's 8 of us there's 8 people that make up this crew, and all the decisions are talked about. It isn't something that one guy makes. It's majority. If everyone's leaning one way, and that's the way we go. Everything's talked about. There's no one guy making decisions, but the basic discussion about why to go away from the inside fishing, away from those kings, was you just couldn't consistently put more than a 4 or 5 pound average together. You just couldn't do it. So it was just thought, I think you're fishing for 5th or 6th place unless you get lucky and find that special fish, and then it's like a needle in a haystack. So,
well, and we ran, and fished, let's just say, really close to where we are right now. Mm-hmm. And the thing was, if you could put a 100-pound box together in Grand Haven, you're going to sit well. Well, up here, you only needed to catch a few fish to put 100 pounds together. Mm-hmm. And then, if you could finish your box with small fish or trout or whatever it was, you're sitting pretty good. It didn't work that way.
Right.
The first day we got up here, and basically nobody had a bite in about 10 minutes when we got here, and nobody had a bite after. So, it was tough. And then day 2, we came back up, but we were fishing for the Founders Cup at that point, just really trying. If you're going to catch 3 big kings and you can get up here, this is where you do it. Mm-hmm. So, and we got 2 of them, and, we were close. But anyways, so what were your...
So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what was good in Grand Haven. Obviously, these were good. These were good in St. Joe for our trout and for our other fish. Obviously, Kyle has pushed Green Hulk to the front of the table. This is... Green Hulk was catching our kings and trout on our deep copper offshore. Purple Stud from Salmon Candy. This has been one of my best spring baits in Grand Haven. Russell told me, he goes, you don't have the good one, he said. I remember exactly his message. And he sent me the Mountain Dew Stud, which is good, but I have to disagree with him. The Purple Stud UV in Grand Haven was 4 to 5 a day on this.
Wow.
From when the king showed up through the tournament.
Really good spoon.
Our best are probably followed really closely by Thriller. We would run this on our out down, anywhere from 45 to 70 down. It would be on our out down or 200 or 225. That was an outstanding bait, always is. Super Slim Thriller.
Leaf for all.
Our Black Jeans UV. This spring, if it was cloudy, I would pretty much run this on the 250 every day. And this was a pretty good spoon. If the sun came up, it just wasn't a good sun.
Is that a moonshine?
This is also a Salmon Candy.
Salmon Candy. All right, we run an Oscar up here, which is almost identical thing, and that has been lights out.
I got you.
All spring.
Some of the rotators that we were running for trout out there. It was a Lake Trout Candy 8-inch spinny, and I don't know for the life of me what this one's called. This is a Yakima. And it's a yellow with the yellow wings, blue, and it's got like yellow lightning bolts. That was really, really good on, what was good for you, right?
200 out and down, and also 750 diver.
750 diver, yeah.
Yep.
And that's just, this one's rigged with no teaser fly. I like this spin and glow without a teaser fly. Honestly, I usually never tie it with one. But that's Trout Candy, probably one of my favorite spinnies for trout. It's just chrome with a yellow back. Everybody knows that. But the key, the big trout of the tournament, came on the rig I'm holding in my hand. It's a blue and chrome. We would call it blue bubble. Blue bubble chrome. And it's got a Action Fly Mirage with blue beads, and in front of that is a blue waffle Yakima. That's an 8-inch. What was this on?
That was on our 250 rigger.
250 rigger.
Had a rigger down 250, and that took the 20-pound trout.
And then a couple of the baits that were good. Again, spring baits in Grand Haven for kings and trout was, it's go-to. It's chrome and crinkle. Chrome and green crinkle Action Fly. Salmon candies, Alties UV with Rombro's Mistress. And I know Russell puts clear beads in all of his flies, but mine's got white glow and green glow. That was really good on a diver for kings the week of the Grand Haven tournament. I think that was a 175 diver, 175 high diver. That was a really good.
That was
really
a great
good
one.
bait. And then I just wanted a shout out to this one here. This is our Blue Edge white pearl fish scale Dreamweaver 8-inch spin doctor with just a pickled sunshine Action Fly. I would say, as far as rotators go, this was probably the best rotator for kings on our 350 all spring in Grand Haven. Shane, if you're listening, Kyle wants the 11-inch pearl fish scale with a blue edge back.
Well,
yes,
I'll see if I can pull some strings, get you one of those. 2 for you, 2 for me.
There you go.
King.
That's Kyle's favorite shoot bait on his charter boat.
So then Good Eye ended up in Grand Haven.
We struggled. We were out there. We were right next to Shinn Times. We were communicating. Our problem was we caught 9 fish for 19 bites on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just couldn't.
That's hard to make that happen.
We couldn't stay connected. We had big trout jack and divers that we couldn't land, and we actually had a trout coming backwards where it bit and somehow got lassoed around the tail, and we missed it with a net because we couldn't control him. And it was just
CJ.
one of those things where it just wasn't. We had the bites. It just wasn't meant to be. So
And that's the hardest part when you look at tournaments too. Is it's all about not only is it getting the bites, but it's
you got to put them in the boat.
Capitalize on every bite. I mean, we got Shinn Times. We got lucky out there day one. We ended up going 12 for 13.
Yeah.
I mean, we missed one bite.
That's what it takes,
Yeah.
I mean, but that the reason that happens is because you don't break stuff off. You're checking leaders, you're retying divers, you're retying everything. You're constantly staying on top of your tackle, and that eliminates a lot of those problems.
Yeah, it's all on the maintenance of the gear.
Yeah, and I always say to my guys, like, you'd pay $100 for a bite right now. So why didn't you retie $20 with a mono last night? Every bite has to be in the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
If I'm fishing a 12 fish tournament, I want 15 bites. That's it. Exactly. I want 15, and I want 12 of them to be the right bites.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to land them. And that's what it takes. But my hat's off to you guys. That's awesome. You got out there and kind of showed up Jason, which that's hard to do.
They lost 10 fish in one day. We lost 2 in the entire tournament.
I always get a little cocky.
We also had it. We had difficulty day 2. Day 2, we went out there, and I think it was 10:30, 11 o'clock. We only had 5 fish in the boat.
Oh wow,
that's all we had. We made the decision on Shinn Times as a team. We know there's small fish inside. We know where we're sitting after day 1.
Yep.
Let's just pull a run in and see if we can go get a couple small fish to get our numbers. And we ran in, went 3 for 4 real quick, and it was time to pull lines.
I actually have 2 of those baits on the table.
So we didn't
45 minutes.
We didn't even come in with tournament limit.
Wasn't that on your chute, Kyle?
That was down.
90 down on the chute.
Yep, that was 90 down on the chute.
And that took a decent king, right?
Yeah, 5-6 pounds.
And then your other bite was a flea for all super slim.
Yep. Flea for all super slim.
What you just said makes a good point that I think people miss when they tournament fish. So you knew that you could go catch small fish, and you knew if you got your numbers, the 10 points per fish is huge.
It adds up.
And that's like what we talk about losing on day 1. Like day 1, you have to catch all your fish.
Yeah.
You need all those points. It doesn't matter. A 1 pound fish is 11 points.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
You need 11 pounds to make up for a 1 pound fish if you don't catch, your limit. So, well, awesome. Well, you guys are having a great year. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you anyways up here. Are you bringing both boats up to?
No, I'm not Ludington. We're coming up. The Shinn Times is actually going to stay in Muskegon and fish Muskegon.
Okay.
CJ, Tom, myself, and Matt, I believe, are going to come to Ludington on Friday night. We're going to pre-fish Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the big boy.
Sure.
Shinn Times is going to fish the Muskegon tournament and see what they can do down there.
Very cool.
But the nice thing about that is, typically the Muskegon tournaments, fish somewhere between Duck Lake and the Point.
Sure.
Duck Lake and Silver Lake. So that eliminates all that pre-fishing for us. We can focus on pre-fishing straight out of Ludington and north. And check the water because you can't look at all the water. There's not enough
there's
time.
so much here. Too.
So that's the nice thing about fishing two boats. If we decide we can put the boat in Whitehall, and then we can fish Whitehall all the way to Silver Lake.
Well, there's
the tournament, and then we don't have to worry about covering that water on Good Eye. We can fish north.
Yeah, and for anytime you're fishing a tournament, it's important to have a handful of people that you're comfortable communicating with, where you're getting what you're giving out and you're getting it back as well. And luckily here at our home port, we have a pretty awesome network of guys. But when you go to other towns, it's definitely you got to have somebody.
Yeah, it's tough
when you're needing information. You need information.
Yeah, bring a friend.
It's hard to have. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming today. Shout out to Mick Ultra and Bahio Sunglasses and Captain Chucks, of course, for making all this happen. Oh, and Shine Water. We have a young one there.
You
so
like that?
Oh yeah,
it's really good. Shine Water's incredible. I don't know where you can get it in Grand Haven, but in Ludington they have it at Shop and Save, and it's pretty fantastic stuff.
That might be a good thing. If we don't have it in Grand Haven, then he can't drink 12 a day. I go broke trying to feed this kid.
Oh yeah.
I like to eat food.
That happens. I got a 3-year-old about to eat out of house and home.
Yeah.
If as long as it's snacks, It's not big on food.
Yeah.
But anyways, hope that this helped you out. If you're going to try some tournament fishing, there's some pretty good tips in here on strategy and that, and check out our other videos. There's other stuff on tournament fishing and strategies as well. And hopefully we're going to do another one on some strategy stuff, probably around the Ludington offshore weekend. So, of course, we'll release after the Ludington offshore weekend. But we'll hopefully get Jason back on for that one.
Hopefully.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys get out there and catch some more fish.
Good luck.